Imagine waking up in a world where the dawn chorus isn't just the chirping of sparrows, but the distant trumpeting calls of massive sauropods migrating across ancient plains, the low grunts of armoured stegosaurs wandering through city outskirts, and the occasional shriek of a clever pack of feathered raptors moving through the underbrush like living shadows. In this alternate timeline, the asteroid that spelled doom for the age of dinosaurs misses Earth by a cosmic whisker. The impact that never happened allows the reign of these magnificent reptiles to continue uninterrupted, rewriting everything we know about life's story, including our own. The continents keep drifting, climates shift through ice ages and warm periods, and the dinosaurs, already the masters of adaptation for over 150 million years, evolve along with the changing Earth. Over tens of millions of years they diversify into incredible new forms. Some species shrink down to adapt to new niches, competing with mammals that keep trying persistently to carve out space for themselves. Other dinosaurs grow larger, stranger, more specialized, armored browsers bigger than elephants, swamp-dwelling giants with skin like plated tanks, swift desert runners with feathered crests and bright colors for display and intimidation. In Africa, our story still takes root. Small, clever primates learn to walk upright. Human ancestors, armed with sharp minds and an uncanny ability to cooperate, begin their rise, but it is no easy climb. They must survive not only the predators we know, big cats, crocodiles, packs of wolves, but entire ecosystems of dinosaurian hunters. Imagine early hominids watching the plains carefully for signs of a prowling pack of mid-sized raptors, eyes shining with intelligence, coordinated and cunning enough to test the defenses of our vulnerable bands. Fire becomes not just a tool for cooking, but an essential barrier, a signal in the night that predators learn to respect. As Homo sapiens evolve, we inherit not just the legacy of stone tools and language, but a deep relationship with these ancient beasts. Some we fear and avoid at all costs, crafting stories around campfires of winged shadows and terrible claws. Others we hunt in organized bands, learning how to read their tracks, study their habits, and understand their cycles of migration. Over time, humans find ways to tame their environment, and some of the creatures in it. Small, herbivorous dinosaurs become part of our settlements. Think of primitive humans coaxing horned dinosaurs into rough wooden pens, using them for meat, hides, and eventually, even for work. Agriculture, when it comes, brings a new balancing act. Fields must be cleared and protected not just from weeds and pests, but from herds of lumbering plant-eaters that could trample entire seasons of crops in a night. Imagine early farmers building not simple fences but massive palisades, learning to dig trenches and set up watchtowers. Communities clustering fortified villages, bound together by the constant threat that nature might send more than a herd of deer through their fields. It might send a stampede of multi-ton giants. Children grow up learning which tracks to fear and which to follow. Hunters become guardians, wardens of the fields. With farming comes settlement. With settlement, surplus. With surplus, specialization. Humanity's first cities rise alongside rivers and rich deltas, but here they are different. The architecture must account for these ancient giants. Stone walls are thicker, gates are reinforced, and sentry posts look outward not only for rival tribes, but for wandering giants. Some societies learn to live alongside these creatures more peacefully. In fertile floodplains, huge herbivores become living lawn mowers, clearing brush that could choke irrigation canals. Small ceratopsians are bred and managed like livestock. Feathers and armoured plates become high-status trade goods. Religion and myth evolve in this world to reflect our uneasy coexistence. Dragons are not myth, they are our neighbours. Cultures develop to worship or placate the largest dinosaurs. Shamans wear cloaks of bright feathers, claiming kinship with the raptors that stalk the woods. Totems and carvings of horned beasts stand guard at village gates. Every region has its living deities, monstrous animals that remind humanity of its place in nature's vast, indifferent order. War and conflict adapt too. Tribes and early kingdoms don't just fight over land and resources, they fight over routes through dinosaur territory, over waterholes used by massive herds, over the right to hunt or domesticate certain species. Imagine Bronze Age warlords riding armoured ceratopsians into battle, their horns capped with metal, banners flying above living tanks. Cavalry doesn't mean horses alone, it means any creature humans have tamed and armoured enough to turn into a weapon. By the time great civilizations bloom, Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley and beyond, the world's map looks familiar yet alien. Nile cities build massive stone causeways to keep sauropods from wandering into fields. Pyramids rise, guarded by walls carved with seams of humans fending off or revering giant reptiles. Pharaohs wear dinosaur feathers in their crowns. Traders cross deserts leading caravans of pack lizards burdened with spices, gems, and silks. Along the Silk Road, caravansaries must be fortified against more than bandits. They stand vigilant against cunning predators that might stalk travelers under cover of night. Technology advances differently under these pressures. Metal armor develops earlier, inspired by the natural defenses humans see on the flanks of stegosaurs and ankylosaurs. Spears become heavier, arrows stronger, fortifications blend nature with craft, moats and spike-filled ditches to turn away both human invaders and the curious snouts of grazing giants. Riding cultures emerge wherever humans tame mid-sized dinosaurs with calm dispositions. Picture nomadic clans traversing the Asian steppes astride swift, bipedal lizards hunting herds of plains-dwelling prey or raiding settlements with terrifying speed. Contact between distant civilizations comes with new complexity. When empires expand, they don't just clash over borders, but over the control of dinosaur populations that can tip the balance of power. Wars might hinge on the migration of a massive herd, or the capture of a breeding pair of particularly valuable species. Treaties are written not just in ink and gold, but in living creatures traded as diplomatic gifts, living symbols of alliances or dominance. As the ancient world shifts into the classical age, cities grow larger and more sophisticated. Roman legions march alongside caravans of domesticated ceratopsians carrying supplies and siege engines. Gladiatorial games feature not only humans fighting humans, but trained dinosaurs pitted against each other, or against condemned criminals to the roar of amphitheaters filled with spectators. Libraries hold not just scrolls of philosophy, but detailed bestiaries describing the habits and life cycles of dozens of coexisting species. Natural philosophers debate not just the nature of the stars, but the origins of these living dragons. Are they kin to birds, or a separate miracle altogether? In the East, dynasties rise and fall in the shadow of unique dinosaur species adapted to the jungles and mountains. Artists paint scrolls depicting emperors hunting feathered theropods in ceremonial forests, their colourful plumes symbols of imperial might. Samurai-like orders train riding raptors for war and messengers, prized for their speed and cunning. Along the coasts, fishing villages defend themselves from semi-aquatic species that prowl the shallows, waiting for careless prey. Religion continues to evolve. In some places, the greatest dinosaurs become living relics, tended in temple gardens, fed and protected by priests who see them as incarnations of the divine. Pilgrims travel vast distances to glimpse these holy beasts, offering tribute and prayers. Entire sects dedicate themselves to the preservation or ritual breeding of rare species. Festivals revolve around the cycles of migration and breeding, marking humanity's unbreakable tie to these ancient beings. The Middle Ages are defined by castles with massive curtain walls, designed not just to withstand siege engines, but to repel wandering giants. Rural life means coexisting with constant reminders that nature is bigger, older, and stronger than any plough or sword. Knights train not just to joust, but to repel predators threatening livestock and crops. Trade guilds form around the breeding, training, and sale of domesticated dinosaurs, an industry as lucrative and complex as the horse trade in our world. When the age of exploration dawns, wooden caravels and galleons set sail not only to find new lands, but to see what unknown giants walk beyond the horizon. New continents hold ecosystems where evolution has taken wildly divergent paths. Imagine early European explorers landing in the Americas and finding herds of brightly feathered descendants of tyrannosaurs stalking the plains alongside mammoths and mastodons. Entire wars of conquest are shaped not just by resistance from native peoples, but by an environment that fights back with tooth and claw. Colonization becomes a story of uneasy balance. Settlers carve out plantations and towns but must fortify them relentlessly. Native civilizations wield their own dinosaurs as tools of defense or warfare. Empires rise on the backs of domesticated giants, plantations ploughed by huge herbivores, mines cleared by pack lizards capable of hauling tons of ore, armies reinforced with living siege engines. Science leaps forward in unexpected directions. Naturalists and philosophers never dig for dinosaur bones. They study living specimens. By the Enlightenment, the idea of extinction itself may be harder to grasp when the world's greatest survivors still walk the earth. Darwin's theories of evolution might arise faster or slower in this world, spurred by direct observation of living fossils. Genetics emerges not from studying peas in a monastery garden, but from experiments on colour patterns in dinosaur feathers, or the inheritance of horns and frills. The Industrial Revolution shifts the balance again. Steam engines roar to life in cities surrounded by high walls and patrolled borders, designed to keep out not only rival humans, but displaced megafauna. Railroads cut through once wild lands, bringing settlers and soldiers into direct conflict with the ancient giants. Entire species begin to vanish under the weight of expanding cities, factory pollution, and relentless hunting for meat, hides, and trophies. Conservation movements arise centuries earlier than in our world, driven by the cultural, spiritual, and economic importance of these creatures. Zoos are not curiosities, but critical sanctuaries. Scientific societies lobby kings and parliaments to protect dwindling herds. In modern times, the human story is one of uneasy coexistence. Urban sprawl fences off entire ecosystems. Highways run through tunnels and overpasses designed to channel migrating giants safely across continents. National parks and massive reserves protect the last breeding grounds of huge sauropods, their migration routes tracked by satellite and drones. Poaching rings, black markets for rare species, and genetic smuggling shape the underworld. Paleontology is an active science not of... In this world, children grow up learning about living dinosaurs in school, studying their behavior, learning which species are protected and which are threats, and dreaming of working in massive sanctuaries or research stations. The idea of Jurassic Park is no fantasy, but a reality. With strict regulations, genetic archives, and heated ethical debates about how much humans should meddle in creatures that survived 150 million years without our help. Climate change, urbanization, and modern warfare still shape the world's conflicts. Rogue states may weaponize dinosaurs, training aggressive species for military use. Conservationists fight pitched battles not just in courtrooms, but in remote jungles where illegal hunting or deforestation threatens the last herds. genetic engineers experiment, sometimes recklessly, pushing boundaries that could create new species or resurrect old ones. Humanity's relationship with these creatures remains a testament to our capacity for both wonder and destruction. Yet, through all of this, the human spirit remains what it has always been: curious, stubborn, adaptable. We still gather around fires, though they are campfires in national parks or gas grills in suburban backyards. We still tell stories of the dragons in our midst, not myths, but living giants that remind us how fragile our place is on this ancient earth. And maybe, in this timeline, we are better for it. Maybe the constant presence of creatures older, stronger, and wilder than us keeps arrogance in check. Maybe children grow up understanding that humanity is not the master of the earth, but one part of a vast, intertwined web that began long before us, and if we are careful, will continue long after. So when you step outside in this world and hear the low rumble of a herd passing in the distance, or catch the flicker of bright feathers vanishing into the brush, you remember that life's greatest story never ended. It just kept walking beside us, reminding us that the age of dinosaurs never truly died. And that, perhaps, is the greatest lesson this alternate history has to offer. Survival is not about domination alone. It is about respect, coexistence, and the endless dance between the ancient and the new. If you'd like, I can polish this further, adapt it into a voiceover script with pauses, questions, or call to action lines for your The Real History videos. Just say the word,